In this video, I'm going to talk about the current collapse that we're seeing. Lots of people have been laid off or fired. You have 3i Atlas, you have the government shutdown, you have them talking about alien invasion, you have ICE harassing people and all this stuff. They're pushing all these fear-based messages and agendas, and this is what you need to be guarded against. The reason why the media is pushing all of this stuff, because the easiest way to control people is through their emotions if they're not grounded and operating in their higher mindset and their higher consciousness, that is Christ. And so to break it down real quick, Christ or God is not a man, God is not a deity, God is not some external being. God is within you, God is within all things. It states in the Bible, God is not a man that he should lie, and it states God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So you may be wondering, well, if God is a spirit and God is not a man, why does it refer to God as he or him? God is the masculine mind. This is why the woman must submit to the man. Your feminine emotions must submit to your masculine mind, because if not, you could easily be manipulated and controlled. And if you just go through life just making decisions on a whim based off your emotions at the time, it will end in destruction. It states, know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. So we know God's not a man, God's not a deity, God is a spirit. We are the temple of the Spirit. Where is the temple located on the body? Your head. So that means God is dwelling up here. So you know, he that is spiritual judges all things, worshiping God in spirit and in truth, like I referenced earlier. But who hath known the mind of the Lord to instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ. Christ is the right side of the brain, your higher mind, your spiritual mind, the opposite of your carnal mind. And that's why it states the carnal mind is enmity towards God. You see, so all these things and narratives that's being pushed, the whole purpose is to ensue panic and fear, because fear comes from the carnal mind. And if they have infected your mind with fear, they already have control over you. And as it states, for God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. If someone is able to control your and manipulate your emotions, they have control over you. If they incite fear and chaos into your mind through the media, through the television, like it says, tell a vision, it's telling you a vision, or entertainment. What is entering in and then being contained within your mental state? Entertainment. When you look at the word government, they're governing your mindset, your mental state. So why are we seeing this societal collapse? Why is there all this craziness happening? Because it's a basic principle in life. Things have to get much worse before they get much better. What we are living through is the age of awakening, the age of Aquarius, or the second coming of Christ. The second coming of Christ was not talking about a man coming down from the sky to save you. Yeshua or Jesus even spoke a parable onto the disciples, telling them, when you see the man with the pitcher of water, follow him into the house. And like I always share in like every video, you are the house, you are the temple, you are the building of God. So he was telling them to enter within themselves during this time. The man with the pitcher of water was symbolizing the age of awakening, or the age of Aquarius. I know the religious people don't want to talk about this. This is the age of awakening. This is the age when everything changes. Why do you think there's so much technology and information? Everything's being exposed, everything's coming out, and people are awakening to what's going on. And people's minds are being transformed, and now lots of people are having the second coming of Christ. It tells you in multiple verses in scriptures that the stars would be for signs. But if you look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 specifically, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons. When you look in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 through 8, it's telling you all this stuff. There's a time for love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace, a time to cast away, a time to lose, a time to sow. There's different seasons and times for everything. This is the time for the old ways of the world to fall. The reason why no man knows the time or the hour of the second coming of Christ is because the second coming of Christ is different for each individual. One person might wake up next week. Another person could have woken up 3 years ago. Another person might wake up tomorrow. It's all going to be different. But regardless, the message is the same. We have a higher consciousness that we can operate from, and some people are coming online and operating from it. You see, when the Bible tells us these stories, they're not meant to be taken literally. It tells you all throughout the Bible to be carnally minded is death. It says, I will open my mouth in a parable. I will teach you dark sayings and hidden things. The Bible speaks in symbolisms, analogies, allegories, and these stories to teach us a deeper message. When Yeshua or Jesus Christ was even asked by one of the disciples, how will you manifest thyself unto us? He stated, if a man love me, he will keep my words. As in, words would make people consciously aware of what's been going on and what is happening. And of the words of Jesus Christ or Yeshua, he stated, the kingdom of God is within you. He said, seek the kingdom first. He said, if your eye be single, it shall be full of light. If you are spiritually minded and your pineal gland is working, you will be enlightened. He also stated, as lightning that cometh from the east and shineth on the west, so shall the second coming of the Son of Man be. As in, just like how enlightenment that comes from the east side, the right side of the brain, and shineth on the darkness, the carnal mind, happens instantly like lightning. This is going to be the true sign that things are changing. He told the disciples, cast thy net to the right side. Be spiritually minded. Use the right side of your brain. In the Bible, it also states, God said to David, sit thou at my right hand till I make thine enemies thy footstool. It says Adam and Eve were driven out, and a cherubim and a flaming sword was placed on the east side. The east side being the right side of the brain. Lots of people love when it talks about us being raised up into the air to be in the clouds with God. They love making that a literal thing when clouds in the Bible symbolize God's presence or his unforeseen spirit. And you have to remember, the spirit of God is within us. So why would we be looking outside of ourselves for the return of a man? Because when the Bible talks about Christ and the kingdom coming here, people take that literally. But multiple times throughout the Bible, when the Pharisees and scribes tempted Yeshua or Jesus Christ asking for a sign for heaven, he responded to them. And one of the ways he responded is he said, a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and none shall be given other than the sign of the prophet Jonas, where he was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the whale. What was this symbolizing? This was symbolizing Jesus Christ or Yeshua's death and resurrection, where after 3 days he rose, and all of this symbolizes your carnal mind having to die and people being raised up in the spirit, operating from the higher mindset that is Christ. This is why if you even look up the definition of rapture, which isn't even in the Bible, but lots of people love to translate it to rapture or harpazo, which is the Greek word. But if you look up the word rapture on the Webster Dictionary website, it's going to tell you the definition of rapture is to either be carried away by overwhelming emotion, an extreme feeling of ecstasy or passion, or for one to be exalted to knowledge of divine things. And all of these things are mentioned in the Bible. This is why everything is coming to light. This is why everything's being put out on the table. This is why everything's being exposed. It said, I would pour out my spirit onto men. Everyone's realizing the truth because the world is built on lies, and people are finally deciding to walk in the truth. The old heaven and the old earth will pass away, as in the old heaven and the old earth as we know it will pass away, because everything is changing. So no, I'm not saying change is going to happen in an instant tomorrow or next week or whatever. All I'm saying is this is the age for the change to happen, and it's already happening. So this isn't the time to be operating in fear, doubt, and lack, but it's time for people to wake up, and change first starts from within. That's why all the people who are awakening, they're falling away from the old systems of this world, the old ways of this world, because people are finally realizing how wrong everything